Want that. Special delivery. I need that. Special delivery. Welcome to the Special Delivery Podcast. I am your host, Special, and if you're new here on this podcast, I do one of two things. Either I'm highlighting brand new music that's dropped, or I'm sitting down with artists to break down their latest project, and that's what we're doing today. Prezi joined me to break down his latest album, Still in the Hood, and you know the drill. We talked about everything that you don't know and should know about it, including the features, him writing hooks, and so much more. So let's get into it. Got Prezi in the building. How you doing?
I'm fine. How you doing? You gotta excuse me if sometimes my voice get a little raspy. I just had an album release party and I kind of lost my voice a little bit.
It's all good. That's expected. Your voice is your instrument.
Sure.
So, so Still in the Hood is out now. Yeah. Incredible project. Congratulations on that. No problem. I want to get started with really the basics of it. I love the fact on this project that you did a traditional intro and outro, just you speaking to the people, opening and closing it. What was the idea behind that?
It's crazy how things worked out because when I was actually working on a project, I made a couple songs and it was just like me just speaking about still being in my neighborhood. And then unfortunately I lost a dear friend of mine July 24th. And so once I lost him, it was just kind of like I'm going to dedicate my album to him. And I'm going to name it Still in the Hood, just basically letting the people know that I'm still in tune with my neighborhood and everything. So that was the basis behind that.
Definitely. And I think it shows so much in the songs. Like, you're really breaking down, like, why I'm still here, why I do the things that I do. I think one of my favorites, I have a couple of favorites. One of my favorite songs is the first track, actually, Money, Power, Respect. And you just talking about, I'm not going to be a victim, because there's so many people who go through so many different things. And sometimes that just kind of stops their lives, especially losing people. You see people all the time who lose someone and it's like, oh, well, I lost someone, so I can't go on. But that resilience is so important to really be like, nope, I'm not going to be a victim to any of that. Like, I'm going to prosper and keep going. What was it like making Money, Power, Respect?
So actually, when I made that, I was in the studio. My producer sent me the beat. He was like, you want it? And I'm like, yeah. He like, you sure you're going to use it? I'm like, yeah, I got somebody I'm going to get on this one when I heard the beat. He like, who? I said, I'm going to put Yhung T.O on this one. So I ain't did no music with Yhung T.O yet. So when I got the song, I got in the studio and I had wrote a hook to it. And I did it and I took it home. I'm listening to it and I'm like, nah, this ain't really it. So I got back in the studio and we was trying to tweak it. And I said, you know what? Just scrap everything and just punch me in. So when I'm in there, I'm just sitting, I'm just thinking. So I just said, I pray to God I don't be a victim. So when I thought about that, I'm like, ooh. And I said, be a victim to the streets or victim to the system. And that means so much to me, just coming where I come from. So that was just like it stuck. And after that, it was like the hook flowed out. And then I sent it to Yhung T.O. And he was just like, bro, this hard. Like, and he sent it back to me so quick. And it was just like, from that point on, it was just like, that's my favorite song off the album. So that song really mean a lot to me, though, for real, because it was like it came up from my soul, like, you know what I mean? So
I love stories about scrapping things, because that intuition to be like, that's not it. Let's start.
Scrapped it. I said, you know what? Just erase everything. Let's start from the top again.
Yes. And you mentioned your producer. What's your producer's name? And did he produce all of it or just parts of it?
He produced most of it. He's like a little undercover producer. Like, I'm kind of like the only person to mess with him, but his beats is so hard to me. His name, he go by AGMB. I don't know what it stands for. That's what he tell me to put produced by. Yeah, a little white kid, cool little, my partner, he's probably like 18. My nephew was 19, 20. And then my nephew was like, hey, I got somebody that's got some beats for you. I'm like, who? He like, my friend. I'm like, man, you in high school, your friend make beats? He like, yeah, just listen to him. And he sent me the first beat. And the first beat I ever did from him was off the first album, Family, with me and Tree. And that beat was so hard to me. Ever since then, we've been working.
It's crazy. These kids these days can do things that we're like, wait, what? You can make videos, you can edit, you can make beats. Like, they're doing everything at the youngest age.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was dope.
So dope. Now, I think my number one favorite, though, is trying to get us on featuring, I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly, Deozene?
She go by Deozene.
Deozene. Okay. She is dope. Introduce us to her.
So actually how that song came about, I was at the studio and my older sister, she's very in tune with music. She used to sing and stuff. So she did with a bunch of people that's in the music industry too. So I was at the studio and my sister just want to come. She's like, let me come. I'm going to bring somebody with me. I'm like, come on. She came and she brought her. And she was like, I want you to do something with her. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I got a beat. You know what I mean? I was getting ready to make my album. So I'm just going through, if you got something dope and we gonna see what you got. So I put on a beat and I got in there again. I punched in the hook again, just trying to get a song. And I'm like, oh, this hook is hard. I don't know if I kind of wanted to get on this one. So I told her, like, go ahead, write. She wrote. And she got in there and she did it. I was like, whoa. I was like, I ain't taking her off.
No, she really killed it. I was like, damn, she is dope.
No,
so
she did.
For sure. Shout out to Deozene because,
no,
man.
for sure. That was dope.
I'm excited to hear more from her, too.
No, for sure. She nice. She actually got a song. I seen her post a clip. I don't know where she was performing at, but she came out, she did a song, and the crowd was going crazy. And I was like, who is this girl? On everything.
Another favorite, of course, not too long ago, featuring Nef The Pharaoh.
Yeah.
So good. Do you remember the first time you met Nef?
Yeah, I do. I actually went to the studio in Concord. It was a studio in Concord. I was with my big partner, Huggy. And he brought me there, and I met Nef manager, Ken. And then Nef was upstairs recording. This is when I first started rapping. So I was kind of, you know what I mean? So when he came down, I just introduced myself and everything. And then I played him Do Better, and he was feeling it. And ever since then, I went on tour with him. He had a tour. I ended up going on tour, one song, just went on tour with him. And ever since then, it's been my brother. So shout out Nef.
Were you guys able to get in the studio together for not too long ago?
Yeah, so how that actually came about, I was in Atlanta. And this dude sent me a beat through my Gmail. And he was like, man, I need you to get on this free beat. You can have it. Just give me my credits, you know what I mean? Just put my name on. I said, for sure. So when I listened to it, I got in the thing in Atlanta and I recorded it at Mean Street Studio. When I just had one verse and a hook on it. So I'm just listening to it. When I got back, I ended up meeting up with Nef again. I'm like, bro, I got something for you to get on. I know you're going to kill it. He's like, all right, pull it up. And I pulled it up. They was like, this is hard. And he ended up getting on it for me ever since then. We're going to shoot a video soon. We ain't shot one yet, but sometime this week, we're going to shoot the video for it.
Speaking of videos, the Still in the Hood video, Derez Deshon video is out now. What was it like? He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's so cool. What was it like making that video with him?
So it's a funny story. I ended up meeting Derez Deshon, right? So I was listening to his music for about a month straight, just his album, The Pain. I ended up going on a radio tour. And when our last stop in Vegas, I ended up meeting up with the radio manager, Troy. So we got to get something to eat. And I really didn't want to go, but my manager told me, just go to the thing. I'm like, all right. So I went, and Troy was like, yeah, I got Derez Deshon in L.A. on Tuesday. And it's Friday at this time. I'm like, yeah. Like, you know him? I've been listening to his music. He's like, yeah, it's my guy. He called him up out of nowhere, just called him, didn't tell me, and just handed me the phone. And I ended up chopping up with him. And he like, come down here to L.A. and chill with me. I'm like, all right. So I flew down to L.A., got a rent-a-car, didn't even have a hotel room. I just got a rent-a-car, and I went to chill with him. And we was just vibing so hard. It was like so real. He like, bro, stay down here another 2 more days. I'm like, all right, it's good. So I ended up staying 2 more days. And I actually played him. He didn't hear Do Better yet. And I played like, this hard. Let's do a remix. I'm like, the remix just came out. He like, let's do another one. I'm like, all right. So I ended up playing him Still in the Hood. And he listened, and he just started freestyling to it. And I'm listening to him. I'm like, he's like, man, send me this. I'm going to get on it for you. I sent it to him. He sent it back in like 2 weeks. And then I flew out there, knocked the video out, and everything was peaches. One of the coolest dudes I met though in the rap game so far. For sure.
No, he really is. He's super, super chill. So
for sure.
That's so cool. You kind of almost manifested that just by listening to his music for a month. And it was like, oh, he's going to be there. Boom. It just works.
And it's happened. So, he invited me to his house for his birthday. I went out there for his birthday. We've really been like rocking ever since I met him. So shout out to Derez.
That is so dope. And then a song that was super interesting to me, I remember first looking at the track listing, and you have all these crazy features that we've talked about, but then Know the Game. Just you by yourself, and you say your engineer just turned it on and you just freestyled it. Take us through that process, what it was like making that one.
I was at the studio. Like I said, I was just getting tracks ready for the album, but Know the Game, I wasn't really gonna put down the album. I just really went in there and was just messing around with that one. That was like just me just going in there, but I ended up liking how it came out. He had to punch me in, so the hook, I did the hook with one take on the freestyle. It was like a freestyle hook. And I just left it. I was just playing around, and then when he did the verses, I was punching in. And I still wasn't going to put on the album, but then I started listening to it, and my big brother was like, I like this one right here. I like this one. Like, it's just something about it. It sounds different from every other song on the thing. I'm like, I'm just going ahead and throw on the album. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
It is you kind of flexing, too. Like, you're just freestyling.
I'm just freestyling. So it was just like, hey.
Exactly.
For sure.
I love that so much. Anything else you want to tell the people about Still in the Hood?
Still in the Hood, the album is real. It's like, it's me. People say that when you get to a certain level of celebrity or a point in your life, you're not supposed to be around, but I understand that, but at the same time, it's just like, I'm so in tune with my people. you gotta, like, when people in the hood still, when they at where they at, you gotta know how to manage being around and dealing with, like, celebrity, being a celebrity and everything. So I just look at it still in the hood, like, you know, they love me up there. Like, I can't see myself ditching my people up there. You know what I mean? Because without them, I wouldn't have been going through the struggle that I went through, and I wouldn't be able to tell my story the way I'm able to tell my story. So it's like, not turning my back on my hood. I might not hang as much, or I might not be around as much, but when I come back, I'm going up there for sure. So, you know, it's just real. The project was real. Every song, it just so happened that every song that was on this album, I didn't make them at the same time, but it kind of like they match with each other. Like, so that's just dope.
Well, and I think that's because it's your truth. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like your truth is always going to match up. Like, this project is so authentic and just such a description of who you are and who you still are and how you remain that person.
Sure.
So I just think that that's so important.
You got to remain that person, because it's like so many people. I done met a bunch of rappers in the game. You can tell they come from the hood, but they kind of like, I just look at it like the world don't owe me anything. So when people walk up to me and want to take pictures, to this day, I'm still amazed by it. Like, wow. Like, who would have thought this little project kid would be walking in the malls and I got 30, 50 people run up to me like, let me get pictures. It still amazes me to this day, so I just take it. I don't take it for granted. It's a blessing. I just feel blessed to be in that position, to be in this position.
I love it. And I think that you're getting known a lot for your incredible hooks. And I think that as time goes by, you're going to be known even more for your incredible hooks. Do you approach the hooks differently than you approach the verses?
You got to, because the hook makes the song. So what I do is I try not to write the hook as much, because it kind of sounds staged when you write them. I just try to go in there for me and just off the top of my head just say how I'm feeling and see how I come out. Every hook ain't gonna be the dopest hook, but you gotta know how to put it together, because the hook makes the song, so you gotta know how to put it together.
And you know how to put it together.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else you want to tell the people?
Yeah, man, I just want to say R.I.P. to my partner Higgs, man. I lost somebody dear to me. Ever since then, I done been going through stages to where I didn't know if I still want to rap, or just not knowing, you know what I'm saying, just dealing with the fact of losing someone dear to me. Like, I done lost a bunch of friends growing up in the streets, but that one really hit a place where it was like, wow, like, you know what I mean, like, life is really short. You know, you just go through a not understanding phase for a second, like, wow. But my partners and everybody, my whole support system, they just kept me level-headed. It had been times where I done got off track, but if the people there who dearly care for me told me, like, you know what I mean, you need to chill out, get back on track, get back to the music. So I made a promise to myself, as long as I'm here, I'm going to make sure I keep his name alive. So that's my goal. So every time y'all see me and I say R.I.P. Higgs, I mean it from the heart, and y'all know why I'm doing it. People going to know, like, okay, Higgs, that was his guy.
So important. Such a beautiful thing,
sure.
Especially like we talked about in the beginning, like, that resilience isn't easy. It's not easy to keep going after you lose somebody so close to you. And especially like you said, like, you go through these periods where you question, like, well, what should I keep doing? Okay, no, I'm going to keep rapping. Congratulations on everything.
Appreciate it. I got 3 beautiful kids that I'm here for, that I had to be here for. So, you know what I mean? Everything I do, I keep my kids in mind. You know what I'm saying? When I'm out here on the road, when I'm doing shows, when I'm getting money, everything, I think about my kids. Them the dearest to me. You know, I'm a loving father first. You know what I mean? So all you men out there, every single man out there who have a kid, if you're not in your kid's life, you're missing out. As your loss, you need to get it together and make it happen for your kids.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Appreciate you for having me.
No problem. Thanks so much for checking out this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button on whatever you're listening on, and then reach out to me. Let me know what your favorite part was, or just say hi. I'm on Twitter at SpecialSays, and on Instagram it's at SpecialSays as well. And as always, this episode is dedicated to Marlon. Do what you can to stop senseless acts of gun violence.